Tonight on Sports Paws, men's basketball enters the toughest part of its conference schedule, and we have point guard Rich Kelly in studio to discuss why Sunday was anything but super for the Bobcats.
The men's ice hockey team is in for the biggest test of its season as the Bobcats hosted the third best team in the country. Keep watching to find out if Rand Pecknold's men could pull off the upset.
Plus, women's basketball looks for its 14th straight win. We'll show you if the Bobcats got it done. That and, of course, top 5 plays. Sports Paws starts now.
Good evening and welcome into another episode of Sports Paws. I'm Jonathan Banks and alongside me is Dylan Fearon. And Dylan, I know you're a Giants fan, so last night's game was not something for you to remember as my Philadelphia Eagles won their first Super Bowl.
I mean, JB, I'm happy for you, happy for all my Philly friends. You guys deserve a terrific game. Philly deserves this for sure, but I'm just not sure why Malcolm Butler didn't play, but that's all right.
I get that point, but it really wouldn't have mattered, Dylan. Nick Foles played the game of his life. Nick Foles played the game of his life, and I could not be any happier to be an Eagles fan in the New England area for the next year. But anyway, let's just get talking about the weekend. That was in Quinnipiac Sports. And Dylan, let's start off in New Rochelle at a game you were covering. I mean, I remember you telling me afterwards it was one of the best games you've ever been at.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I took the trip to New Rochelle with Sierra Goodwill and Ryan Chichester. Much better music on the ride than Chris Stacey played during soccer season, but that's okay. Quinnipiac picked to finish last in the MAC and on the road against Iona, the preseason favorites, so the Gales have this one in the bag, right? Well, Quinnipiac played well enough to take this to overtime, and that's where we start. First possession of OT, and it's Jacob Rigoni from downtown. Finished with 16 points, nailed 4 threes, including this one right here. That put Quinnipiac up 3. A couple of possessions later, Quinnipiac up 1. Cam Young, a little shake and bake spinorama, creates some space and connects from deep. He was the best player on the floor that night, plain and simple, most athletic kid on the floor. Quinnipiac led by 6 in overtime, but Roland Griffin brings Iona back, and we're going to a second overtime. Extra basketball means foul trouble, and Chase Daniels was working with 4 personals. Here's E.J. Crawford attacking them and finishing over Daniels. Iona up 2 with a minute and change to go. Then Griffin says, hey, it's my turn. One-handed off glass. Real nice move there. Iona's going to win this game 87-82. But a nice effort by Baker Dunleavy and Quinnipiac, which is now 6-5 in MAC play. Let's look at some numbers now. Cam Young, as I said, the most athletic player on the floor Friday. Ricky McGill, not too shabby for Iona either. Both filled the stat sheet. McGill 17 points, 8 assists, and 7 rebounds. And Young, as we talked about, 31 points, 11 boards, and 5 dimes. These guys balled out, JB. Terrific game. Oh,
they balled out. They were terrific, just like you and Intramural's Dylan. But now let's pass it over to Lender Court, where Quinnipiac and Ryder battled Sunday in the game before the big game. Ryder won the reverse fixture 78-60 in New Jersey. Quinnipiac needed to get off to a hot start, but they had trouble putting the ball in the basket. As you'll see here, their shooting struggles started off early. Here's point guard Rich Kelly. He's going to try and put up a 3. That's going to go off the iron. Isaiah Washington, nope. And then Cam Young, that's only going to hit air. Shooting struggles were not the only problem for the Bobcats. Keeping possession was another issue. Here's Chase Daniels working, but that's intercepted. Cam Young trying to catch it, but that's a little too hot to handle. And Jacob Rigoni, that man is surrounded. That was 3 of the 20 turnovers QU committed during the game. Now let's take it to the second half. Chase Daniels gets up and one. That's a big boy play from Daniels. He would sink the free throw. QU only down by 3, but Ryder responds right as DiMincenzo Bond provides a nice finish to the cup. Ryder up 5-2, and then over Rigoni on the next possession. Stevie Jordan with a dagger. Now up by 8 is Ryder. Now it's just fun and games. Jordan Allen with the flush. Ryder outscores the Bobcats 19-12 to win 74-59.
Look, Ryder's a good team. They beat Penn State early in the year. They played Providence to the wire. They played Xavier in non-conference play. So they've played some good teams. They've beaten a good team. It was an 0-2 weekend for Quinnipiac. The Bobcats are now 6-6 in MAC play with 2 big road games coming up in West New York. Now let's go to our own Drew Feinberg, who's sitting with point guard Rich Kelly to talk some MAC hoops. What's going on, Drew?
Thanks, guys. As you said, I'm joined by Quinnipiac point guard Rich Kelly. Rich, thanks for joining me tonight.
Thanks for having me.
So, helping the team reach its best MAC start since 2013, what do you think has been the biggest factor leading to the team's success thus far?
I think it's just our ability to be a team, play together, and just put aside our individual accolades maybe, and just try to get some wins.
And Baker Dunleavy coming in as the new head coach, what type of mindset has he implemented into the team that's gotten you guys to where you are now?
Yeah, he's just implemented like a team-first attitude. We want to play tough and smart, and we just want to outcompete our opponents every night.
The team has 2 road games, big conference road games against Niagara and Canisius coming up. What adjustments do you think need to be made to pick up 2 wins in those games?
I mean, we definitely have to defend better. You know, it's common cliche, but offense wins game, defense wins championships. So those are 2 really good offensive teams, and we're going to have to stop them from putting the ball in the basket.
And as a point guard, you are often seen as a pass-first player, and you're no exception to that, 4th in the MAC with 5.5 assists per game. What can you say about your teammates' play and ability to get open and create space for you to find them and create assist opportunities for you?
Yeah, we have a lot of great scorers on the team, and a lot of guys that can put the ball in the basket. So they make my job easy. I just have to find them, and then they do the hard work.
6 total games left, all conference games. Does the team or you have any expectations for the rest of the season, and what mindset do you guys have going forward?
I think we have a mindset that we just want to get better with each game. That's all 6 games left in the regular season, and then each playoff game that we get to play in. So hopefully we can just keep getting better and get some W's along the way.
And I have one final question. This one's for me. So your Twitter name, Richie Drama, is there any backstory behind that? Do you call yourself Richie Drama? Does everyone call you Richie Drama? Just quickly, I need to know a little bit.
Yeah, that's a joke. I'm a big Entourage fan.
Oh,
Johnny
yeah.
Drama is my favorite character, so that's where that stems from.
Okay, definitely.
Yeah.
I love that show. Well, Rich, thanks for joining me. Guys, back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Drew. A pleasure hearing from you as always. I'm glad that you didn't fall asleep on the desk after a long trip from Minneapolis last night. Now, Dylan, let's talk about the other basketball team on campus, the women's basketball team. They traveled to Fairfield to take on the Stags Saturday. What went down, Dylan?
Well, it went just like every other conference game for Quinnipiac. The Bobcats win, and like most, in easy fashion. Quinnipiac's defense shined brightest. The Bobcats only allowed 39 points to Fairfield, including just 5 in the 4th quarter. Carly Fabry poured in 17 points to lead Quinnipiac and banged in 5 threes as the Bobcats won 58-39, make that 13 in a row for Trisha Fabry and company, with Iona looming the next day, JB.
And in the least surprising news of the day, Trisha Fabry's team defeated Iona. Iona scored 47 points. Quinnipiac won by 43 points.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I read that right too. Paula Stropmain led the way with 19 points and 7 boards. Jen Fay did a little bit of everything, pitching in with 13 points, 4 assists, and 6 rebounds. Iona shot just over 31% from the field. That is just not going to cut it. It's not going to do the trick against a Bobcat team that has now won 14 straight games.
They really have been on a tear lately, even with a couple of injuries here and there, tough non-conference schedule. And we're at that point in the season where teams generally get tired, especially freshmen, and they've shown that they can compete at the highest level.
Yeah, that's definitely right, Dylan. And the Philadelphia Eagles were not the only underdogs this weekend. Stay with us to find out if the men's ice hockey team could also pull the upset against the Clarkson Golden Knights. Keep streaming.
Whether you're on the quad, in your room,
or heading to class,
tune in to Q30 News.
for stories by student journalists you can trust.
We are covering the latest here on campus and in surrounding areas.
Get the news you need to know every Wednesday night.
Coming up on #that, we talk about some fun events around Quinnipiac's campus.
And we talk about some weird news that's been discussed around Twitter.
All that and more, we are your source for Quinnipiac's entertainment news.
news, we will determine what makes a good sandwich and a bad sandwich. First, the standard sandwich. Uninspired and frankly, a little gross. But we have here a Ray and Mike sandwich, the Cadillac of sandwiches. And if you want one, well,
come on down to Ray and Mike's at 3030 Whitney Ave, Hamden, Connecticut. Open every day from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. QCash is accepted.
Now that's a sandwich.
Sports Paws is brought to you by Custom Cakes by Steve. If you can dream it, we can definitely bake it. Dylan, those custom cakes are more than a reader. They are actually really good. I highly recommend them. I don't know about you.
Birthdays, anniversaries, whatever it is, they come up in big moments. That's what I hear at least.
Yeah, and just like the men's ice hockey team this weekend, but before we get to that matchup against Clarkson and St. Lawrence, let's look at the game before the weekend. Princeton came to town last Tuesday to take on the Bobcats. So Dylan, I'm just wondering how they did.
Yeah, the weekend was great, but Tuesday night against Princeton was anything but for Quinnipiac. Head coach Rand Pecknold called it an embarrassing loss and an unacceptable buy-in level. 2 third-period goals in just 1 minute gave the Tigers a lead it would not relinquish as Princeton left Hamden with a 5-3 win. But the Bobcats would bounce back, isn't that right, Josh?
Yeah, Quinnipiac couldn't get it done against the Princeton Tigers. Confidence was not high in the locker room going into Saturday's matchup with the Clarkson Golden Knights. Clarkson came into Hamden ranked as the 3rd best team in the nation. That's a high ranking. The Bobcats, sitting in 10th place in the ECAC, were not expected to come away with the win. But did they pull off the improbable? Men's ice hockey beat reporter Kyle Lavasser was at the Frank Proddy Jr. Arena on Saturday to recap the action.
Embarrassing and panicked were 2 words Quinnipiac head coach Rand Pecknold used to describe his team's performance on Tuesday. Yet just 3 days later, Pecknold described his team's battle level as excellent. It was that attitude that led Quinnipiac to defeat the number 3 team in the nation, Clarkson, 4-1.
Again, tonight, there was adversity. I think just from our whole season, there's been adversity, and we found a way to battle through it tonight and be prepared.
3 different Bobcats scored against one of the best goalies in the country, Jake Kiley. Tanner McMaster gave the Bobcats a 1-0 lead just 2 minutes into the game that they never looked back on.
Our line's, playing really well. Jermaine came onto our line, and I think we felt instant chemistry. I think we all attribute to each other's games, and I think things have just been working out. So hopefully it continues.
While the offense thrived, goalie Keith Petruzzelli allowed just 1 goal to the conference's highest scoring offense.
We did a lot of system stuff. We changed our forecheck a little bit on them, and we obviously had to get our matchups right. It was nice being at home versus them, but I think coaches did a great job preparing us for them with video and all that stuff. And yeah, boys were unreal tonight, shutting them down.
Why were the Bobcats so successful? The reason is simple.
I think we just have to look at what we did well tonight, and it's passion. I use the phrase a lot. You can't fake passion. You can't fake it.
Quinnipiac will look to continue to play passionate hockey as they welcome St. Lawrence to town tomorrow night. The Saints are on the rise. They picked up their first 2 conference wins of the season just a weekend ago, and their last 7 matchups have only been decided by 1 goal. For Q30 Sports, I'm Kyle Lavasser.
Thanks, Kyle. Great work as always. But now, let's take it to the next night, where the Bobcats look to make it 2 wins in a row against St. Lawrence. And as that highlight takes there, we'll hear that Andrew Shortridge got the nod in net for Quinnipiac. Now let's take it to the first period here. We got action right from the start. Nolan Gluchowski, watch this. That's a beautiful outlet pass to Alex Gilmore, who looks up and makes no mistake. He fires home past the left shoulder of Andrew Shortridge. The Saints grab a 1-0 lead. Later in the first is John Vergelli. He tees up Brogan Rafferty, who gets his 2nd goal of the year with the help of a deflection there. Rafferty gets his 1st goal since November against Yale. So now we're tied at 1 and still in the first. And Odin Tufto, look at him go. Look at the freshman. He's off to the races. And that's a great finish right there to give the Bobcats a 2-1 lead. Let me tell you, this will not be the last time tonight you'll see that goal. Now again in the first, Captain Chase Prisky drops it off for Bo Pieper. And Dylan, Bo Pieper must love Call of Duty because he just sniped that to give Quinnipiac a 3-1 lead.
Never played it.
Never me either. But anyway, Pieper wasn't done
Only
in the
Madden.
first period. Watch here, look at the senior with this sweet finish right here off of Kevin Dwayne feed. 5 combined goals in the first period for both teams. Quinnipiac picking up 4 of them. And now finally, after all that action, we are into the second period. And this puck, Dylan, check this out. Look at this. This puck can literally go anywhere. But eventually, it finds the stick of Keenan Suthers, who buries it. They look to be celebrating, but wait, there's more. Watch this. The refs are going to review it. And as you can see here, it's no goal. Was the net off the pegs? We'll see
No
later,
idea.
but later on. Brogan Rafferty forces a turnover. Now Rafferty's on the doorstep for his second of the game and third of the season. The Bobcats are roaring. St. Lawrence, they would grab 1-1 in the third period, but that is all she wrote in this one. Quinnipiac scores 9 goals this weekend to earn a much-needed weekend sweep. Here's Quinnipiac head coach Ren Pecknold post-game.
It was a good win tonight. I thought that we battled hard. You know, St. Lawrence getting that early goal, they executed going down. It was tough, but I thought the guys were ready. We played with a lot of passion, a lot of care, and it's nice to get the sweep at home here this weekend.
Now let's hit the Twitter sphere for the Sports Paws Poll of the Week. Will Odine Tufto break Brian Herbert's all-time freshman assist record of 32? Well, Tufto's got 24 with 6 games to go. That's not including playoffs. So 8 assists in 6 games. If you don't have a calculator, tough task. But 66% of you say he'll get it. I'll have to have a Tufto tracker going the rest of the season to see if he will get it.
Yeah, and thanks for that calculator comment because I didn't have it, so I didn't know the number, Dylan.
Well, now you got it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. Now shifting gears to the women's ice hockey team. They dropped 2 games in a row to Hockey Eastville, New Hampshire just 2 weeks ago. They returned to conference play to take on RPI and Union this past weekend. First up, on Friday, the RPI Engineers came to town. Let's check out the action. Quinnipiac and RPI, some ECA hockey action here. Let's pick it up right in the second period. Quinnipiac on the power play. They'll just pass it around and work it from Melissa Samiskevich, the captain, who will glide through here, and she gets a little help from the goalie, but it trickles through to give the Bobcats a 1-0 lead. It's her team-leading 13th goal in the season. The captain really knows when to step up for her team. But now, let's take it to the third period, as you'll see here. Number 24, Sarah Kutu-Godby, with some nice work behind the net, who feeds it to Brooke Bonsteel, the freshman, on the doorstep at the right place at the right time to finish. Her 10th goal of the year gives Quinnipiac a 2-0 lead, and that is a lead, Dylan, that they will not relinquish. Abby Ives picks up her 3rd shutout of the year thanks to her 24 saves. The Bobcats take the dub 2-0. Now, Dylan, they get the job done against RPI, but how will they fare against Union?
Well, looking for their first winning streak since early December, the Bobcats faced Union Saturday on the road. Quinnipiac's great play in the middle of the second period led to a 4-2 win over the Dutch women. Goals by Melissa Samiskevich and Taylor House in that second period gave the Bobcats a 3-1 lead. Brooke Bonsteel put the finishing touches on that weekend sweep. That's now 4 ECAC wins in Quinnipiac's last 5 games. A home weekend with Clarkson and St. Lawrence awaits.
It was a successful weekend for the women's ice hockey team, that's for sure, winning 2 games. Now I'm going to throw it over to the team's beat reporter, Mike Dalton, to break down some of the Bobcats' most successful plays of the weekend.
Thanks, guys. The Quinnipiac women's ice hockey team beat RPI 2-0 on Friday. So here are some of the key plays that I'm about to break down. So defensively, Bobcats played really well. RPI forward tries to throw it out in front. However, she's unable to get a good, clean, crisp pass because there's so many bodies up in front for the Bobcats. Eventually, they try and get a shot off, goes well wide. So now, Koenigsen and RPI off to the races, battling it out. RPI eventually wins it. However, Grace Marquis, perfect positioning, makes a good interception there. However, she's unable to get it out. Good stick checking there by 13. Now 13, she's going to get a slap shot off. However, Marquis redeems herself as it goes straight into her skate, and she just skates it out of her own zone, dumps it out, and Bobcats are able to get fresh legs back onto the ice. Here's another good defensive play here. Now look at Alicia Barry, not exactly Koenigsen on the person with the puck. Now Barry, she just kind of backs into the goal. However, that creates less of a chance for the person with the puck to get it past Ives or Barry, because now they got to shoot it in this big of a window, which is so hard to do, even if you are a Division I athlete. Now, big 2-on-1 chance here for RPI in the middle of the second period. Tabin, perfect positioning again for the defense. She splits the forwards, and she basically just takes this forward out of the play. So now number 14 is forced to shoot it on goal. Ives stonewalls her, makes a good save. Now here we're going to get to the first goal by the Bobcats on the power play in the middle of the second period. Melissa Samiskevich just basically waltzes right in, and it's just the will to score. That's why she leads the team in goals and points. A little bit of puck luck there too, as it just sneaks by the goaltender, and Bobcats are up 1-0. Now we'll go to Brooke Bonsteel's goal. Now she loses possession of the puck, Kutu-Godby right there to help her out. But look at Bonsteel, she just basically parks herself right in front of the net. That way, you know, eventually when Kutu Godby was able to find a nice passing lane for her, Bonsteel is still right there. So those are the plays I've broken down for you guys. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Mike. One more break, but when we come back, women's track and tennis were in action this weekend, plus acrobatics and tumbling captain Samantha Gormley will tell you what the Bobcats have been working on the most to get ready for the season.
And we have the top 5 plays coming up from an eventful weekend in Quinnipiac athletics. Don't move a muscle. Sports Paws will be right back.
Whether you're on the quad,
in your room,
or heading to class,
tune in to Q30 News.
For stories by student journalists you can trust.
we are covering the latest here on campus and in surrounding areas.
Get the news you need to know every Wednesday night.
Hello, and tonight on Sandwich News, we will determine what makes a good sandwich and a bad sandwich. First, the standard sandwich. Uninspired, and frankly, a little gross. But we have here a Ray and Mike sandwich, the Cadillac of sandwiches. And if you want one, well,
come on down to Ray and Mike's at 3030 Whitney Ave, Hamden, Connecticut. Open every day from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. QCash is accepted.
now that's a sandwich.
Welcome to the WQAQ Morning Show. Dan Ball and Emma Spagnolo joining you here from the QAQ studios in Hamden. And Emma, it is that time of year again.
Coming up on #that, we talk about some fun events around Quinnipiac's campus.
And we talk about some weird news that's been discussed around Twitter.
All that and more, we are your source for Quinnipiac's entertainment news.
Sports Paws is brought to you by Custom Cakes by Steve. If you can dream it, we can bake it. All right, welcome back inside Sports Paws. Time to get the spikes on and hit the track, JB. What's your mile time anyway?
Not as fast as yours, that's for sure. But you know, you were a former Division I athlete here, but let's talk about the current Division I athletes running for the school. The Quinnipiac Indoor Women's Track and Field team traveled to the New England Championships at the Reggie Lewis Track and Field Center in Boston, Massachusetts. On day 2, senior Kaylee Roberts grabbed first in the 1-mile run, while senior Jessica Lee also got first place in the 60-meter hurdles. Lee set a school record by running her 60 meters in 8.25 seconds. On day 1 of the championships, junior Carly Timpson tied in first place in the high jump. A 4x800 relay team of Marlo Werer, Megan Curtin, Allison Karen, and Roberts finished second place to qualify for the ECAC Championships.
Back to 500 for the women's tennis team. That's after a tough loss to Fordham Sunday. Rams are good. They made the Atlantic 10 semis last year, and they beat the Bobcats pretty easily, 6-1 the final score. The lone Quinnipiac point comes from junior Proifan Lofaezan. The Bobcats are road tripping next as they face the America East Binghamton on Saturday. All right, one spring sport has its first meet of the season coming up against the same team that knocked it out of nationals last year. For that and more on the acrobatics and tumbling team, our own Sam Busquet sat down with senior captain Samantha Gormley.
First, let's rewind 4 years when you first joined the team. What made you decide to come to Quinnipiac?
When I visited the school, I loved the whole atmosphere. I just loved the school, and I knew I was a gymnast my whole life, so I knew I wanted to continue doing something in like athletics. And acro just appealed to me because it was different and something that I never even knew existed until I came here. And I just loved it, the whole team thing. Gymnastics was individual, so just being part of a team really stood out to me, and I'm really happy that I chose it, and the school is great. So
That's awesome. How do you plan to lead the team this year?
I'm really positive, so I always try to make sure everyone, if someone's frustrated, make sure that they turn it around, make sure everyone's always all in, no one's outside doing their own thing, which I think our team chemistry is really good this year. Everyone's always supportive of each other, so it's really important that everyone just makes sure that they stay that way.
So last year you guys fell to Baylor in the national championship by a very slim margin. Do you remember anything specific about that day, like what the atmosphere was like?
It's definitely exciting. For us, even though we lost, we beat them in team routine, which team routine is like really like something that we work on really hard throughout the year. We always work on that like more than our other rounds, because the other rounds just kind of like fall into place as we like make team routine better. So beating them in certain rounds just like makes us happy. Like it doesn't matter if we like win the whole meet. It's just like certain things, if we beat Baylor, like knowing that they've been #1 the past however many years, it's just really exciting for us. So even though we lost, it was still a win for us.
So you're a senior, you're a captain. This is your last year competing at this level. Do you have any personal goals that you have set for yourself for the season?
Yeah, definitely, because it's my last year, like as a D1 athlete, it's definitely something that came a lot faster than I thought it would. I just wanna do my best. Always go out there like positive, try your hardest, make sure that everyone's always having fun. That's just how I want it to end. I don't really care like what the outcome is. Obviously, I want to win, but as long as you're having fun doing what you're doing, that's all I really care about.
Thanks, Sam. Quinnipiac faces Baylor on February 18th. All right, time for top 5 plays. Heavy on the men's sports tonight, JB. What you got?
I mean, watch what I got here, Joe. These plays are sick. Some of the best top 5 plays I've seen in a while. Let's take it to play number 5. The men's ice hockey team right now is starting a trend, scoring while falling down. Bo Pieper's up first and does not disappoint with this slick finish. More falling down goals for the Bobcats to come in the top 5.
Check out these skills. Number 4, let's hit the floor. Quinnipiac trying to score. This game, anything but a bore. Pass to Quinnipiac's 4. This was a war, and Iona gets they get the win. They get the win. I had nothing there.
Yeah, watch this though. Play number 3. Check out your TV. There's something to see. A nice little feed and a dunk over Rich Kelly. Also, I see Jacob Rigoni. I think I killed that one. Fear and Ryder wins.
I think you got me there. Anyway, grab the skates for number 2. It's Quinnipiac and Clarkson. Josh Dickinson with a one-on-one with the netminder, and Keith Petrozelli says, nah, bruh. Nah. Quinnipiac wins 4-1. Shout out, Teletubbies.
Now let's get play number 1. Bo Pieper scored while falling down, and that was pretty cool. But check out Odin Tufto. Look at this here, the freshman skating forward, and look at this right here. What a sweet finish by the freshman while heading to the ice. And Dylan, look at the celly, confidence. Odin Tufto is a bad man, Dylan Fearon, a bad, bad man.
I feel like he's been number 1 a couple of times on this show. Shout out Mike Dalton for cutting that up.
Yeah, Mike Dalton cutting that up. But Mike Dalton's also a diehard Patriots fan, so he put extra time into making that top 5 video. He didn't want to keep thinking about that loss, and I don't blame him one bit. But Dylan, it's been a pleasure as always with you. I've had a great time.
Of course.
That's all we have for Sports Paws tonight.
You might have mentioned Eagles 4 or 5 times. I'll let you slide. I said only 1, but I'll give you 4 or 5.
You said
anyway,
on Twitter, yeah.
Great stuff, great stuff. Make sure to check out our website at Q30TV.com and follow us on Twitter at Q30Sports. For Johnny Banks and the crew, I'm Dylan Fearon. We'll see you next week. Good night.